My name is Travis Starr, and it is 10:54 in the a.m. on November. Let me see here. On November 12th, and so I have recently discovered in three civil cases that the judges and the county attorney, who, from what I understand, the county attorney's office kind of handles a lot of the incoming, outgoing paperwork on the electronic dockets. There's not like a set court staff, support staff that does it. The county attorney does it. And so they've been throwing away and deleting and altering and changing much of my pleadings, and especially those pleadings that claim factually and prove with attached evidence that a group of judges, a group of county attorneys, assistant county attorneys, and the county attorney, the sheriff's girlfriend, Nancy Dankus, who's also the jail clerk, and then a group of jailers who, at least when I'm in jail, they'll run documents back and forth to Nancy Dankus, where she will then commit various acts of official misconduct to them, commit fraud, impersonate other people, prevent me from appealing. And then when I'm out of court, when I'm out of jail, which is not very often, I've probably been jailed more than any divorced man in the history of the state of Iowa, I'm sure of it. So when I'm out of jail, and I file things electronically, they just block them. They block them, they delete them, they alter the title, so you can't tell. My titles are very descriptive, and I was taught that at the University of Arkansas Law School, the William H. Bowen School of Law, and so my titles are very descriptive of what they are, and they go in and then they change the titles, and then they block it from other people viewing, because they know that in some cases I've given out my personal e-filing passwords and things like this, and so they don't want anyone to see it. So what I've been doing is I've been emailing the court opposing counsel and copying in the oversight agents entrusted with investigating claims of official misconduct under Chapter 721 and claims of professional misconduct under Chapters 51 and 32 for lawyers and judges and people that lawyers and judges control, for professional misconduct causing intentional injury. So what we have here basically in these three cases spanning over 3 years is starting with Judge Ellison, but then growing like a cancer to other people. You have a judge who ignores my rights, mainly under the First, the Sixth, and the 14th Amendments. Ignores my rights, and then ignores his duties under Chapter 721 and Chapter 51 and Chapter 32 to protect those rights and not to ever ignore those rights. He ignores the law. He ignores the operational facts that give rise to the law. He decides that I am not equal to him, and I am not deserving of those rights or his duty to protect them. And once he's done that, decided that I'm not equal to him, now he goes about the business of ignoring, and then gets into the practical process of most all official misconduct in the state of Iowa or any state when you're a government worker. And he goes about the business of asserting his own personal preference, prompted by his own private desire, intending to injure me, actually injuring me, and then concealing the fact of the harm, suppressing the truth of it, and incorporating others to do it, like Timothy Meals, Story County attorney, Joseph H. Naring, the assistant county attorney who used to work for the governor's office. I don't know if it was with Branstad. I don't know if it was with Branstad or I don't know if it was with Reynolds, but Joseph Naring's, I guess it was probably his father or an older brother, worked for one of the governors. And Tiffany Meredith at the county attorney's office, the sheriff, Paul Fitzgerald, the sheriff's girlfriend, Nancy Dankis, who's also the jail clerk, the jail commander, the assistant jail commander, which are John Asmussen and Micah Anderson in that order, and then a host of jailers. And when I'm in jail, Nancy Dankis will prevent me from appealing. She'll prevent me from getting an attorney. She'll impersonate the real Story County clerk of court, Janet Baldus. She'll impersonate the Supreme Court clerk, Donna Humple. She'll sometimes say that she spoke with Donna Humple about appealing, about how to e-file an appeal or a notice of appeal or a motion to get more time to appeal, because the government workers are literally actively preventing you from doing so because they're so terrified that someone's going to find out about what they're doing to some lowly man, some husband, some father, some Christian, some doctor of law, some multi-jurisdictional attorney. And all of those things are crammed into one person, and they're me. And they obviously didn't know all of that before they started doing this to me. Otherwise, I'd like to think they would think twice, but who knows? I mean, I'm not entitled to anything. I put my pants on the same as every other man, and I'm not entitled to any special treatment. But I know I'm not deserving of all of this official misconduct that has come my way. I'm an American. I'm a proud American. And I take my rights very seriously. And yeah, anyway, let me just kind of clear that up. So that's what's going on in the 2nd Judicial District. And it appears as though it's been going on for 20 years. There was a man named Michael Kennedy. Michael Kennedy was, and Michael Kennedy was one of my oppressors. The thing that was strange about it is I liked Michael Kennedy very much. And he was a good person. Yeah, he was taken horrible advantage of by Sheriff Paul Fitzgerald, by the Story County Attorney Timothy Meals, and by Judge Ellison, and maybe some other judges. I don't know. those three men for sure. And they had Michael Kennedy he kind of ran the phones at the jail, the Story County Jail, and they had him to listen in on my conversations with two Arkansas attorneys, James Hunt and Tessica Dooley, and my pastor, Todd Jenks. And when you're a pastor, when you're a member of the clergy, when you're I don't know about this, whether it's whether it's a lawyer, just a straight doctor of law, like a research lawyer, or if you have to be licensed and permitted by some state, but be an attorney. But the fact of the matter is, we have privileges. We have privacy privileges in conversations that we have with one another and with whoever we want, really. And the privileges are ours. They don't. You hear the attorney-client privilege, and you think that only when you give an attorney money do you have a privilege of privacy. And it's not the client's privilege. Lawyers talk to family members. Lawyers talk to clients on a pro bono basis. It's the lawyer's privilege to give. And so Michael Kennedy knew that. But Michael Kennedy was told to listen to my conversations. And he gave those conversations to Joseph Naring. Joseph Naring gave them to my wife's attorney, Nicole Facio. And Nicole Facio, private attorney Nicole Facio, gave them to my wife. And how we know that is, attorney Tessica Dooley and I were talking on the phone one night from jail, and Heather said some things to Tessica that Heather could not have possibly have said or repeated unless she had heard them first uttered in an earlier conversation between me and Tessica. So Michael Kennedy was asked to bring those tapes into a sentencing hearing or a dispositional hearing, I guess, when it's civil. And when Joseph Naring first attempted it with Judge Bethany Curry, she had to disqualify, and those are for some reasons I don't need to go into right now, but they're equally disgusting, involving the case of Elizabeth Shirtcliffe versus Iowa State University, and Elizabeth Shirtcliffe versus ISU and Carl Weems. Carl Weems is Heather's boss. Carl Weems is also, just a degenerate and doesn't need to be working for Iowa government in any capacity. So she disqualifies herself. We then go in front of Judge Haney. And Judge Haney knows. He just knows that, because I'm just now starting to come out of my injury, which is it's a post-traumatic stress reaction. And all it is the involuntary fight or flight response. And it's really uncomfortable if you've been stuck on flight your entire life and now you're stuck on fight, because it's involuntary. And you don't know you just don't know what you're capable of doing. And so it's very uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable. And so I'm just starting to come out of it. And Judge Haney can see that I'm intelligent. He can see that I'm educated. He can see that something is terribly wrong here. And I tell him how this tape originated. and he didn't let it in. He's not going to have any part. I mean, at the end of the day, we're in a divorce and a civil restraint situation. This isn't high crimes, and this isn't criminal stuff. This is just daily life between husbands and wives and parents of children. It's not. So Haney didn't. He wasn't going to have any part of that. So he did that. A little bit later on, Michael Kennedy was asked to come to court and do it again, this time with Judge Ellison. And this time, Judge Ellison let it in. And this was on 3/30/2023. He let it in. And then he also denied me the right to put on 40 pieces of evidence from my legal paperwork, from my cases of his acts of official misconduct. 40 of them. I was going to put on evidence and show Ellison to be intervening so severely with the administration of justice in my case that he himself was causing intentional injuries independent of those caused by Heather. And also intentional injuries independent of Heather's injuries, that superseded Heather's injuries, took the place of them. They were so menacing and wrong. And there should be tapes of this. I was told by Judge Thorpe on the 16th of August that Story County has the most technologically advanced courtrooms in all of Iowa. And I've got tape after tape that should be able to I don't want to talk anymore. I don't want to talk. I don't want to explain any of this. I would rather just sit back and push play and watch the official misconduct show. But guess what? They won't give me those tapes. They won't give me those transcripts. In July and August of 2022, there was this really great gal named Molly Clompett. I know it reminds me of the Clampetts for those people old enough to remember the Beverly Hillbillies. But no, her name's not Clampett, it's Clompett, Molly. And she was the court recorder. She was the court recorder on October 24th, 2021, when the most horrific thing happened. And the most horrific thing was this. There were many things that happened on that day. I have other videos that you can watch. But my wife basically comes into court and she says, I would like Travis to be out of the house for 1 year or so long as the divorce is pending. And I want a togetherness provision where I control Travis's comings and goings and sports and church and meals and holidays and, just a togetherness provision. That's what she wanted. So there's a lot of things that have happened procedurally before this where the judge was overruling the agreements of Heather and I and negotiations and everything else. And my hand shot up and I said, yes, please. That's what I wanted in my pleading. That's what I wanted in my negotiation. That never happened. That's what I wanted and, asked my court-appointed attorney to do, and he never did. I'll take it. Let's do it. We're done. Judge overruled it and said no. Judge did a lot of other bad things. I'll have to show you in other videos. Judge goes out of the office, goes out of the courtroom, comes back in, says, all right, we'll go with 1 year, no contact. And I'm thinking, when he said that phrase, like no contact, I'm like, what are you talking? This is my wife and my children. No contact. But that's what they call it in Iowa. It's not like the old school temporary restraining order. It's they make it into I mean, you can't tell on the back end of these things when they're on the public record. You can't, if you're an HR person like I am, an HR professional, you can't tell whether the guy's beating his wife or the wife is coming in and filing a civil restraint application intending to defraud the court so that she can take further unconscionable advantage of the husband in the divorce with custody and property, which is what my wife did here and also confessed to 3 times. 3 times. And the court overruled, and they just went by it. Heather tried to get out of this 3 times, and Ellison and Curry just didn't even pay it any attention, just ignored it. And so anyway, the judge comes back in, and he says, "Okay, we'll go with 1 year no contact." And then he looks right at my wife, and he says, "But Miss Rouse, I want you to know that you will not be allowed to be together with Travis and the children at the same time for 1 year. And if you attempt to be together with Travis and the children for 1 year, that'll be grounds for being jailed for 7 days," or whatever he said. My wife was sitting in the gallery at that point, and she jumped up and she ran toward the gate and almost hurdled it and said and screamed and cried, "No, that's not what I wanted. That's not what we wanted." Judge Ellison, who Heather and I have known since our childhood, another long story, takes the gavel and hammers it down till it goes flying. And he says, "Okay, how does 5 years sound? For 5 years, you will not be allowed to be together with Travis and the children at the same time." He left the room. And that's how I got a 5-year no contact order. Which is like, from what I understand, and I'm not a domestic attorney, but from what I'm understanding is this is reserved for pedophiles. And this is reserved for like men who are charged criminally with domestic abuse and probably also like attempted murder. They get the 5-year no contact orders. And then what happens is when the order terminates at 5 years, they just call the court and renew it for another 5 years. And that's the custom in Iowa that has developed. It's just, if you see a 5-year, you basically know that it's supposed to be for life. And they would put it for life if they could. And that's how they get around it. So that's how I got a 5-year no contact order. And that's the first act of official misconduct. So going back to Mike Kennedy. Mike Kennedy was also the man who the sheriff and Judge Ellison and the county attorney at different times had to call. They had Mike Kennedy call by telephone, call the county, the Tama County Sheriff, the Tama Police Chief, the Toledo Police Chief, anytime they wanted to have me arrested. anytime that I was talking about what they were doing. And whether it was in a pleading, like an actual pleading to the court about what they were doing to me, or about my wife's fraud, or about their fraud, or, just defending myself in pleadings and supporting it with evidence. Or it could have even been a Christmas card to my children where I say I'm continuing to fight for justice. Or I don't think your mom knows what Judge Ellison is doing, or something like that. Something just kind of innocuous. You can see these things. I'm going to send them to you. You've probably already seen like some letters I've sent and some Christmas cards I've sent, and they actually put me in jail for those for 4 months. I'm not kidding. So they want me in jail constantly because they can sit on me. And Kennedy is the guy who did all the dirty work. Kennedy is the what did he say he was one time? Oh, Steely Dan. Kennedy is an audiophile, so he knows a lot about music, and that's how he refers to himself. Steely Dan. I'm a fool to do your dirty work. Yeah, that's from Steely Dan. And so he would call and have me arrested, or encourage the Tama County authorities to arrest me. And by the second time, this happened on 6/2/2024 and 6/6/2023. And so they know. And so the phone records, the public records show that those are the phone numbers coming into those three entities on those dates. So I've been wrongfully arrested, wrongfully tried, wrongfully convicted, and wrongfully imprisoned in civil matters 4 times. I've spent from August 8th, 2021 to August 8th, 2024. There's 1,094 days in those 3 years. I spent 766 of them in jail. And no one said a word. No one helped. None of the attorneys assigned to me, nothing. No one thought something was really bad wrong here. Or they knew it was something was really bad wrong there, and they were told, don't rock the boat. Don't get the judges in trouble, don't get the county attorney in trouble, don't get the sheriff in trouble. We need this guy here because he's dangerous to our jobs. So the last time I was arrested on 6/2/23, I wrote a letter to the jail commander on 6/6/2023, in saying that Kennedy wasn't letting me call out. He ran the phones, and Kennedy wasn't letting me call my stepfather or my brother or my pastor or anybody. I couldn't call them. And so to some of you who were getting called before and all of a sudden stopped getting calls from me when I'm in jail, that's why I was being prevented. And so I was being prevented this time. And I also happened to write in that letter, which is a matter of evidence that has now been blocked or deleted or covered up by the court. I said something about you guys need to be really careful with what you're doing to Michael Kennedy. And on that same day, 6/6/2023, I was in the J unit, which is it's got a bunch of people in there. It's got new people that come into the jail, and they keep them in there to see kind of how they behave and who's violent and that sort of thing. So they're all out playing basketball. I'm laying on one of the cots, and I've got my eyes covered, and Kennedy comes in. And give me 1 second here. I need to get a drink of milk. Anyway, Kennedy comes in, and he puts his hand on my calf and just kind of rests it there. And my eyes were covered by a t-shirt, and I kind of looked down at him, and Kennedy just said, "I just want to tell you I'm sorry for everything." And we just kind of had a moment where we were just kind of looking at each other where, I don't know, anyway, Kennedy's kind of a gregarious guy, so he turns to leave, and he says, "I don't care what they say about you, Starr. You're pretty good in my book." And he leaves. And that was on the 6th, maybe the 5th, but I think it was the 6th of June. And 3 days later, on the 9th of June, he killed himself. Committed suicide. Because of the shame and the guilt associated with, it wasn't just me. He's been doing this for a long time, and he was tired. He was tired. And he just couldn't take the pain, for those husbands and fathers and Christians and stuff in Iowa who suffer, like a woman coming into a divorce and into a civil restraint situation, and then intending to commit fraud on the court in the civil restraint so that she can take further unconscionable advantage of the husband in the divorce with custody and property or whatever. And a lot of these guys kill themselves. We say the Iowa man can suffer much distress, but not disgrace. And I think that's where Michael Kennedy was. He wanted to be seen as equal to these people. He saw himself as equal to them, as equal to me, as equal to everybody. He just wanted to be respected. And after all those years and after all those horrific things, they never elevated him. They needed him too much down in the belly of the beast to make all the official misconduct work, to keep it concealed, to keep it suppressed. And he was just tired of it. And he was a good person. And I think probably what we'll find is, like Nancy Dankis, the sheriff's girlfriend, is probably very much like Michael Kennedy, seeing herself as equal, wanting to be respected. A good person otherwise, except for the dirty work that was being commanded. I mean, let's face it, Michael Kennedy is not doing any of the things that he did to me. Nancy Dankis is certainly not doing any of the things she did to me unless she's being commanded. So yeah, so this is serious business here in the 2nd Judicial District of Iowa. The personal preference protocol, the abuse of power, the abuse of discretion, whatever name you want to give it, it's out of control. So now we're at a point where all the things that I'm filing with the court proving the official misconduct of all of these people is being blocked, is being erased, is just being thrown in the trash. Nope. I don't see any official misconduct. You see any official misconduct? You see any official misconduct? Someone check the trash. Nope, it's not even in the trash. It's been burned. No official misconduct here. So that's what's going on. So even if you're not, working for the Judicial Qualifications Commission, the Attorney Disciplinary Board, you're not a Supreme Court Justice, you're not a cop, you're not Mitch Morvet over at the Director of Public Safety, you don't know anything about Chapter 721, Chapter 51, Chapter 32, you all probably understand that the official misconduct statute is just don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal, right? And you all probably understand that if you take somebody's pleadings or evidence and just throw them in the trash can or block them or delete them, that's an act of official misconduct. That's felonious official misconduct. We don't do that in America. We don't do that to our fellow Americans, But when you have consistently and constantly, this is not Judge Ellison's first rodeo for asserting his from telling powerful civil litigants. He overrules their agreements. He overrules their prayers for relief. He overrules their pleadings. He just overrules them. He's like some sociopath king when he's given a gavel and puts on a black robe. And he overrules the civil litigants. He ignores everything, ignores rights, ignores law, ignores facts, and he asserts his personal preference, prompted by his own private desire, intending to injure people, usually men, in this very situation: divorce, civil restraint, custody, whatever. And then intends to injure them, and then he goes about the business of recruiting others to conceal his harm and to suppress the truth of it. And I think probably what he does is he bullies them, sort of, to get him to help him out. Like maybe he gets a judge to sit in, like Judge Curry, Judge Haney, Judge Moore, Judge Polking. Mainly Polking, Thorpe, and Bethany Curry. Those are the only ones who actually ever had an order written behind them. And I don't think that Curry wrote those orders. I don't think that those judges wrote those orders. I don't think they signed those orders. Those were written by Judge Ellison. There's no question about it. Because they're so unhinged. They're so inviolate of my First, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights that there's no way those young judges who are not very long out of law school, who are very bright and smart and know a lot. There's no way they wrote them. There's no way they wrote them. But if they want to claim them, fine. Go ahead. That's fine. They're all null. They're all void. They're all invalid. They're all products of official misconduct. No matter how you cut it. So we've got a lot of that going on, throwing stuff in the trash. So what we're going to do here is we're going to call Bill Watson at the district court. He used to be known as the Assistant District Court Administrator. Now he's known as the ADA Coordinator. Kellie Orres, who schedules all the trials and things, evidence, discovery schedules, trial schedules. She's not an attorney, but she's a good one. So she knows a lot of the anomalies that have happened in my cases, with just weird stuff in my appointed representation, and the county attorney's office telling Kellie Orres how things are going to go for me without me being involved, and without my county attorney or my appointed attorney being involved. On 2 occasions, Kellie Orres knew, because I called her, because something was amiss, because I hadn't talked to my appointed counsel. And I didn't think my appointed counsel should be talking to Kellie Orres about scheduling trials or scheduling discovery or scheduling anything when he hasn't talked to me. So Kellie Orres is a good person. Kellie Orres will tell the truth when asked. Kellie Orres told me to call Bill Watson and start working my way up the chain. And so that's what I'm going to do. And we're going to record that. We're going to record that phone call. All right. Let me just click off here. Pause it. I guess we can pause it. All right. Let's see what Bill is up to. Hey Bill, how are you doing? This is Travis Starr. I just wanted to reach out and visit with you for a couple minutes, but you're not in, so I'll try back another time. Have a nice day. Bye. So he wasn't in. I probably shouldn't have left a message. Probably should have just hung up. But we'll move on from the assistant court administrator to the court administrator, Tina Thompson. Tina Thomason is new. So Scott Hand used to be in that position. Scott Hand is the son of some people that go to church with Heather and I, at St. Paul's Lutheran Church, and I don't know the circumstances of him leaving. So we'll call Tina Thomason and see if she can help us with the official misconduct that we're experiencing. So 1 minute here. So I didn't leave a message that time just because I wonder how long if we did this and how many people we called if we'll get anyone to answer. Let's call Shirley Faircloth. She's the Chief Juvenile Court Officer. So as I was listening there to the prompts, hey Shirley, how are you doing? My name is Travis Starr, and I am an Iowa resident. I'm a father, and I've been going through some civil cases there. Two of them are juvenile termination of parental right cases. And I have been in touch with some oversight agents recently. And I do not know if you were copied in with Bill Watson or Tina Thomason on any of those. Do you recall? No. This happened. This happened by and through. This was private. this this wasn't. This wasn't. This wasn't. Um, this happened. This happened privately, and it happened intentionally, and it happened wrongfully. And what I'm calling to tell you is, I have several pleadings. I am by trade in my life and my profession before it all fell apart here in the Second Judicial District. I was a multi-jurisdictional attorney. I'm a Christian. I'm a father, and I've been filing pleadings in these juvenile cases, right? And they're being blocked. They're being deleted. In a couple cases, the pleading itself that I titled when I e-filed it has been altered, and now it's been blocked, and I can't open it. And the press and the other people who I give my e-filing codes to, they can't see any of it. And that's, of course, I mean, I don't need to tell you, that's official misconduct. You can't just take a man's pleadings and the man's attached evidence and just throw it in the trash. And so Judge Ellefson is just kind of on his last leg. He's someone that me and my wife have known since childhood. I heard on the list here that Jeremy Linsenmeyer works with you guys. Jeremy Linsenmeyer went to school with Heather and I. And so it's happened in the past where Judge Ellefson has overruled, so to speak, civil litigants, a husband and a wife. And he did it so horrifically that instead of being fired, he was, from 2014 to 2018, he was put back on the ballot. And now he's done it to me and my wife. And I just need some help. I need someone who's kind of outside the chain of all of this that's happened, who can just identify the truth and yield to it. And all I need you to do is to go into these cases I'm going to give you, JV, 008-499 and JVJV 008-500. And you can go through there and you can see all that has been blocked, all that has been altered, all that has been changed that I filed. And so because my wife's divorce and because my wife's civil restraint are so harmed by Judge Ellison at this point, I have taken to interacting with Judge Thorpe and opposing counsel via email. And I've been copying the Judicial Qualifications Commission, the Attorney Disciplinary Board, the House and Senate Judiciary Committees, and everyone else. So they can see me communicating with the court. They can see what we're talking about. They can see the evidence that I'm putting on. And so I don't get in trouble for ex parte conversations. I file it with the court. And now he's taken it and he's deleted it. He's covered it up. He's blocked it. He's done this also in the civil restraint case and in the divorce case. So part of my defenses are in all three of these cases is that, and I'm very specific about who's intervening, but I've got several government workers intervening in my case, causing intentional injuries independent of the ones that my wife causes. And this is what got Ellison in trouble the last time. So here I am. My parental rights were terminated by order last on the 4th. I'm not too terribly worried about it because it's null, it's void. It was entered in my absence. I wasn't even in the court. It's a mess. And so as I've gone about the business of just simply saying, okay, look, this is what's happening in the 2nd Judicial District. I've got people who have asserted their personal preference, prompted by their own private desire, intending to injure me, have injured me, and now they're going about the business of concealing it and suppressing the truth of it. And I don't know if you knew Michael Kennedy. Michael Kennedy was a jailer there recently who did some very bad things to me, but I like him, and he's recently committed suicide over the bad things that he's done to me and others at the command of Ellison, at the command of Judge Fitzgerald, and at the command of the Story County Attorney. So it's come to a head. And how I thought about you, Shirley, and I think I have to go back and check my emails. I think I might have included you on some of my emails. But Kellie Orres is the one who, Kellie is a great person. She's a truth teller, and she's done some scheduling for me for discovery and for attorneys. And I've had some really bad experiences with appointed attorneys not doing anything for me, and I think that's been intentional. So I've gotten a hold of Kellie over the last 3 years, and I'll tell her, I'll say, Kellie, something's not right here. I haven't even talked to this attorney, and he's supposed to be calling you and telling you what we're doing. And so Kellie knows something is bad wrong. And so when I talked to her recently about 2 weeks ago, before I started doing any of this with the emails, and she said for me to get a hold of Bill Watson. And so getting a hold of Bill Watson and just working my way down the line of administrators is how I came to you on the phone. But like I said, I think I might have known who you were. Do you remember getting any emails from me? You do, yeah. Okay, so that's what's going on, and I know that it's difficult. I'm not asking you, Shirley, to do anything with law there's no law involved here. There's no judge's province. What we have here is a government worker. Some government worker has gone into those juvenile cases, which you're the chief officer of, and they're blocking pleadings and they're blocking evidence. And that's official misconduct. Whoever's doing that, whoever knows of that, whoever's actually doing it is guilty of felonious official misconduct. And, I'm guessing, I don't know if you go through and look at the facts, but if I think you would go and say, yeah, I looked at these cases and these things are blocked and I didn't block them. So who did? And then just, or maybe you did block them. Maybe you did block them. Maybe you were told by Adria Kester, or maybe you were told by Ellison, or maybe you were told by Thorpe. I feel really bad for Hunter Thorpe. Hunter Thorpe isn't doing anything. Hunter Thorpe is a 28-year-old kid who's being used and abused by James C. Ellison, just like Michael Kennedy was, and Bethany Curry and Christopher Polking. And he picks on the younger guys, but he can't get away with it, with Amy Moore and John Haney. So that's where we're at. That's the truth of my case, and they've now taken my kids away from me, and I'm not gonna tolerate that. Number one, I'm not gonna allow that to happen to me. And so I'm just calling for your help on the official misconduct side. And I need to get a hold of Bill or Adria or Tina for the civil restraint case and the divorce case, where the same exact behaviors have happened, where there are documents that tend to incriminate the Story County attorney, Judge Ellison, Paul Fitzgerald, Nancy Dankus. They're all kind of there. And anytime I file them in my own defense and prove it, they cancel it. Or they throw me in jail under false pretenses. Or I have a 5-year no contact order, Shirley, and I want to tell you how that came about. My wife went into court. She said, I'd like Travis to be out of the house for 1 year. Or I'm sorry, for the pendency of this divorce. And I'd also like a togetherness provision. I'd like to control Travis's comings and goings for church and holidays and meals and different things. The judge goes out of the courtroom. Ellison comes back in and says to my wife, we'll go with 1 year no contact. And then he yelled at her. He said, but I want you to know, Miss Rouse, you will not be allowed to be together with Travis and the children at the same time for 1 year, or you'll go to jail for 7 days, or whatever he said. My wife jumped up and said, no, that's not what I wanted. That's not what we wanted. And Judge Ellison, who is the husband of our high school French teacher, said, okay then, how does 5 years sound? So my wife is a civil litigant, and she didn't ask for 5 years. My wife didn't ask for her togetherness provision to be ignored. I didn't ask for 5 years. I didn't ask for the togetherness provision to be ignored. So how did it come about? The law? No. It came about from Judge Ellison asserting his own personal preference, prompted by his own private desire, intending to injure us, actually injuring us, and then going about the business all this while to conceal the fact of the harm and the truth of it, and to suppress the truth of it. That's it. Pretty simple. And I don't have any of the tapes, Shirley, and that's another reason I'm calling you. I don't really want to argue anything to anybody anymore. I just want to push play, is really all I want to do. And I have tried for 3 years to get all of these tapes, and I can't get them in any of my civil cases. And I would like them. I would like you to get them and e-file them and email them to me, because I'm ordered indigent in all these cases. I have no money. And in the past, Nancy Dankis and others have charged me thousands of dollars for transcripts and for tapes, and that's more official misconduct, And I have proof of that. Like if you go through even in the JV cases, you'll see where I filed proof of some of these other things happening, and they've all been blocked. They've all been covered up. And we don't need to be protecting this in government. James Ellison, county attorney, Sheriff Fitzgerald, they've gone too far. It's done. I mean, and you need to be a part of I hope that you will be a part of the solution and not getting involved in any of this concealment or any of this suppression. So that's why I'm calling to ask for some help as an administrator, saying, yeah, I have uncovered some official misconduct. I've uncovered some documents. I think there were some documents on the first and the second, some communications with the court, counsel, and other agents that I registered with the court. And someone went in and changed the title of the instrument that I filed, and then proceeded to block it. And then this morning at 10:40, between 10:40 and whenever, they went through and blocked everything else. And I also made a mistake, Shirley. In those oversight emails that I sent out to everybody, and I had those hyperlinks, and I had other videos in there. I was too dumb, and someone who I sent them to went into those files as an administrator or as an editor, and they deleted them. So I gotta replace them. So and here's another thing too. I mean, as far as, if you want to know anything about me, you can go to Facebook, or you can go to LinkedIn, and you could probably walk down the hall and ask Jeremy Linsenmeyer, hey, how do you know Travis Starr and Heather Rouse? And he'll tell you we're both good people, and we don't deserve, neither one of us. I'm not against my wife here. The other thing that you need to understand too is on those tapes in the civil cases, Shirley, my wife confesses 3 different times to. She's like, look, I did a wrong thing. I'm intending, the civil restraint is no good. I'm intending to commit fraud on the court to take further advantage of Travis, and I just want to stop it right now. And and Judge Ellison is such a sociopath. He didn't let her. And it's just crazy that we're this far, and nobody has stood up to this guy. Nobody. Me. I stand up to him and I get put in jail. I send a Christmas card to my kids and I get put in jail. I prove that he's a bad person and has done bad things, and I get put in jail. But now, Michael Kennedy was the one that they were kind of using for the jailing and stuff, calling over here to Tama County and convincing them to arrest me without search warrants and without seizure warrants. And but like I said, he's committed suicide now, so they don't have anyone to do that. And I don't think Tama County would at this point. I don't think Tama County would ever turn me over to the 2nd Judicial District for any reason. What do you think, Shirley? That's a lot, huh? Happy Tuesday. Welcome to work. How was your holiday? Yeah, Shirley, I'm sorry. But all I'm asking you to do is to go into your juvenile records and say, yeah, I know. No, sirs. You are the chief of juvenile court officer for the Second Judicial District. So I need the tapes. I need the tapes. No, I don't have any. I have a termination of my parental rights case. I have two of them. That happened on the. So you don't have you don't have jurisdiction over this over the court, the juvenile court tapes in your court. You don't have jurisdiction over the electronic filings in that case. You don't have jurisdiction over those men and women who have access. I'm just asking you. You know, because I'm recording this too. So inquiring minds are going to want to know why Shirley Faircloth is putting me off and telling me that I need to go to DHS. I mean, why don't you just tell me to call the Iowa bar? I mean, what is DHS going to do about official misconduct in your court? Huh? Do you have access to my juvenile case in your court, and can you tell whether or not an employee of the Second Judicial District has gone into that case and blocked pleadings of anybody? You ever heard of anyone blocking pleadings or changing titles or throwing someone's legal work in the garbage can? That's happening on your watch. That's happening by people in your court that you administrate. Juvenile Court Officer, Chief Juvenile Court Officer. I don't see anything on the judicial branch page about working for DHS or calling DHS for delinquencies. I'm calling you because I've been hurt by government workers that work underneath you or beside you. And I need your help. I need your help. That's what I need. Please help me. Please help me stop this. I'm begging you. I don't deserve this. I don't deserve this. Shirley. You'll forward your concerns on to who? You don't have jurisdiction, but you'll forward my concerns on to who? To Ellison, to my abuser? Who are you gonna? Who? Please tell me who you're gonna forward them to, and I'll call them. To Tina Thomason. Okay. Listen, Shirley. Listen, I know how hard this is. I mean, Michael Kennedy's killed himself, for crying out loud. How many other countless men do you and I probably know who have gone through this civil restraint divorce situation, and the men are killing themselves right and left, you know, leading the nation in suicide rate because the Iowa man can survive distress, but what the Iowa man can't survive is disgrace. And I'm no different, and I don't know how much more of this I can take. But I thank you for listening to me. I thank you for going ahead and sending it up to Tina. And I'll try and visit with her. And if you run into Jeremy Linsenmeyer, tell him I said hi. He's a really nice guy. Thanks, Shirley. You have a nice day. Bye. Well, I mean, you can't get mad at these people. I mean, I have in the past against some of these people just negating and pushing off, and they're administrators of official misconduct. Like, that's their job, is to make sure that that stuff does not show up in government, that doesn't show up in any of their workers. And when it comes up, it's like they don't know what to do. They're like, oh God, what do I do? And if you're anything like Ellefson, you involve a lot of people. And I got the sinking suspicion that Shirley might have been the one asked to block. And then this happened. And she's like, she doesn't want to lose her job either. She doesn't want to lose her job for going against the people who are commanding her. And then she also doesn't want to lose her job for being in league with the people who are commanding her. So it's hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil, and there we go. So I don't imagine that we're going to get a hold of Tina Thompson, the District Court Administrator, or Adria Kester. So here's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna stop here. I'm gonna talk to a few of my press connections who are eagerly awaiting. No one knows how deep and broad this is, you know what I mean? So they're just waiting and waiting and waiting for like some oversight agent to start, and then we can go from there. And I often wonder what happened to Ellefson in his last thing. I wish I could talk to. There's a guy named Mr. Livingston who supposedly knows Ellefson, or Ellefson bragged one time that this Livingston fellow who works for the Judicial Qualifications Commission favors Judge Ellefson or something. Which, it's not true. I mean, just because Judge Ellefson says it in court doesn't mean, he could have just been puffing. But anyway, what was I going to say about Livingston? Oh yeah, I wish I could talk to someone who knew the intricacies of the last time that Judge Ellefson did this to somebody, to an Ames couple. An Ames couple came in, husband and wife, same sort of scenario with me and Heather. And the judge started really abusing the man, and the woman went to the man's aid, and they wanted to enter some agreed orders as civil litigants to kind of undo some things that the judge did, and he wouldn't let them. And so in that case, you have both the husband and both the wife going to the Judicial Qualifications Commission and saying, "Hey, we got a bad judge." But I've often wondered. He wasn't fired. He was put on a ballot in like 2018, I think. And I just wonder, when it came to the other acts of official misconduct, the concealing and suppressing of the truth, like, what all did Mr. Livingston find out in that, was caught up in that web? And maybe we'll find out that Nicole Fazio, Heather's attorney, was an attorney in that other Ellefson official misconduct case. I don't know. I mean, but these people are scared. I mean, every single one of these people are scared. Unreasonably so, for standing up for the truth or yielding to the truth. And it's just bizarre. It's just bizarre. I sometimes think that, like, maybe the last time this happened in the 2nd Judicial District with Ellison, that, you know, everyone thought Ellison was going to lose his job and other people were going to get fired too, and then nothing happened. He wasn't really punished at all, and then nothing happened to the other people. So I don't know. It's just so bizarre to find this many anyway. I'm gonna finish up here and get some lunch, and then we'll just keep trying. Keep trying to find the stop and pause button. Jeez, Travis. I don't think I took enough vitamins this morning.